Hello and welcome to the reading of The Path as Shown by Sage Agastya from the Sacred Discourses of Agasthiyar Vazhipaadu. Last week we were talking about what to do when someone is on their deathbed, as Sage Agastya had explained. We talked about becoming detached from materials and attachments as spiritual aspirants starting right now. After the session, Sister Harisha from Mauritius and Brother Ramachandran from Mumbai shared some insights that we will discuss, towards the end of this session. Since this is a vast subject, we will look at all the aspects of death, including suicide, murder, life after that death, and see what further insights we can get from those great ones that passed on despite while going through great suffering like cancer and other diseases. So for now, we will read from Sage Agastya's words, and then we will discuss slowly. So Sage Agastya says, he's talking about what to do when someone is dying. So usually what happens when someone is dying, everybody is sad, people are crying. But what Appa is saying is, try to be calm and try to explain to them if they have time and if you have time and they are willing about what death is and what karma is and how it is not the end. And if you know more things about creation, all these things you could explain to them. If not, at least chant mentally some devotional verses or hymns or any mantras that could help the dying person. Then he continues, if possible, have them repeat mantras or names of gods. This is very common in especially Hindu households. We usually have a lot of people who chant a god's name as soon as they wake up, when they're going to sleep, which is very, very beautiful, and we'll examine why. Chants such as Om Namah Shivaya, Om Namo Narayanaya, Rama, Krishna, Krishna can be repeated. It is best if the chant refers to the ancestral goddess or gods or goddesses. Doing this helps the soul gets connected to higher realms. So what Appa is saying is, when someone is dying, create an atmosphere where it is calm, have some devotional music or some light classical music, and keep the area around the person clean, and then have them, if possible, if they are willing, to chant some sacred names or mantras. If it is not a Hindu and if it's a Christian, it's okay to chant the Lord's Prayer, or if it's Muslims, whatever they chant. It is okay to chant something which creates a sublime feeling in the person who is passing. Then he continues to say, in modern days, when a lot of emotions spring up during the last days, it is best to tell those around the deathbed not to show their emotions. When a soul leaves the body, it is surrounded by mind and feelings for some time. Only the body is left behind. It is like a piece of iron leaving the clutches of a magnet. For a brief time, the iron also shows the property of the magnet. Therefore, when the soul is leaving the body, the mental body is attached to it. It understands the feelings of those around it, particularly those close to the person who is dying. When these people start crying, the cry of each individual acts like a magnet, pulling the departed soul downwards. This is such an important insight into the process of dying. What is Appa saying? Appa saying, do not show your emotions. Do not sit there and cry. We tend to be morose when somebody is dying. Think of yourself. When you're just going to sleep, if people are around you are morose, how do you go to sleep? You go to sleep with that feeling of sadness. Now, our brothers and sisters who are on their deathbed, they're going to into a longer sleep. So why create a morose atmosphere? Try to make it nice. Talk about the memories they've had. Everybody has had some good memories. Keep them happy, because that is very, very important. What happens is, what you think or feel during your death or any time in life, where your attention is, where your focus is, that's where your consciousness lies. So we already talked about how important it is to try to keep it as pure as possible, as positive as possible. So the same applies much more strongly when someone is dying. You want to keep the person's mind more, connected to higher things, sublime things. Keep them happy, keep them feeling like this is not something bad. Death is not bad. It's something that happens to every person who's born. Death is a certainty. Whether you're a king or a queen or an actress or a poor man, everybody dies. It's just the body that dies. So Appa is saying when the body is leaving, don't sit around crying, don't be morose, don't talk about things that they don't need to hear. See, when somebody is dying, the last thing that goes is the faculty of hearing. That's why sound plays a very, very important part in this whole thing. Imagine even if somebody is in coma and you're sitting around them and talking about anything that is not conducive to their mental well being. You're thinking, oh, they cannot hear, they do hear. We have heard of a lot of people who go into coma and come back, they're saying, oh, we heard all the conversations. Some people, even when they're under anesthesia, say they were able to hear something, maybe because the anesthesia did not work well. So, what does that mean? That means be mindful. Tell the people around the person who's dying to be calm, to be positive, to talk about good things. If necessary, just allow music or somebody can sing beautiful songs. When Gajraj Swamigal was on his, was terminally ill with cancer, people used to come. And there was one lady called Geeta Subramaniam who used to come there regularly, who's Veena Raghavan's husband's, uh, part of the friend circle. And she came and she was singing devotional songs every day. How beautiful is that? Gajra Swamigal's eldest daughter also used to sing songs and, devotional songs. So there was always a peaceful atmosphere around him. And then he says, when the soul leaves the body, it is surrounded by mind and feelings for some time. It is. So only the body is left behind. So, like the piece of iron leaving the clutches of a magnet, for a brief time, the iron also shows the property of the magnet. So, what happens is when the soul is leaving, the mind is still active. So the soul is conscious of what is going on around it. We hear a lot about people who have experienced, have had near death experience. They say they're looking down and they see everything that's happening around them. So if you put yourself in the shoes of a dying person, do you want to look around and see everybody wailing and weeping and making it harder for you to leave? Or do you want people to be in a calm, positive state that'll help you make your journey, the further journey or higher journey, better? In fact, I would like to share about my friend Sridevi in Mysore. Her mother-in-law was always involved in Brahma Kumaris. And when her husband died, it was so beautiful to see that old lady stand there and wave goodbye very calmly. There was no wailing and no crying. It was just so beautiful to see her wisdom. There was profound wisdom in her. She knew death is not the end. She knew that her husband's soul had to pass on. And she created the good atmosphere, sent him with prayers. And that's what we need to do. So don't, and I have seen a lot of families start wailing. Don't do that. It's not good for the soul. So try and be as calm as possible when somebody is dying. And when my husband's or my brother-in-law, Freddie, when he was dying, the family gathered around him for the whole week. People used to come and visit him, talk to him. Everybody talked about beautiful memories. His nephew, Nevada, and others spoke, about some funny thing that happened, had everybody laughing, including Freddie. Now, how beautiful is that? To be around people who love you, show that they loved you and what you meant to them, to create an atmosphere of happiness, joy, laughter. How beautiful is to leave the world that way. Remind them of all the things that they meant to you, what they've done for you. Let them go feeling positive. So that is what Appa's saying here. So when people start crying, the cry of each individual acts like a magnet pulling the departed soul downwards. See, this is something that we have to remember even in our daily lives. What happens, like, okay, when I had to leave my daughter with my parents and move to Bangalore, I was always worried about her. She was just 5 years old. I was always concerned about her. And then Gajraj Swamigal told me something that touched me very well. He said, every time you're thinking about her, your consciousness is connecting with her and she's feeling the pain. She is missing you more. So stop thinking about her. Remember, even if she's sick and she needs you, it'll take you 3.5 hours to come by bus to Mysore. But think about the Divine Mother. Pray to her. Divine Mother can immediately be with your daughter. So from that day, I kept telling Divine Mother, she's your daughter, you take care of her. So I was able to live peacefully away from her, and she was able to live in a joyous atmosphere with her grandparents. So this is what happens even in our daily lives. Don't constantly think about somebody with sadness. It's going to affect them. Or don't think about somebody with anger. That affects them too. So try always to send positive thoughts. That's the least we can do as spiritual aspirants. All of us have the ability to do that. We can go ahead and be positive in a daily life. Something happens that makes you angry about somebody. Try to distract yourself. You know the best way to distract yourself? Listen to melodious songs. Go outside, go away from the place you are. If you're in the house, go for a walk. Go meet somebody else. The moment your mind is distracted, then that feelings begin to reduce. Time is also a great healer, but physically moving away, physically trying to do something else helps. If you see a lot of people who are very, very confused or angry and they start cleaning the house, let them do it. They are sorting everything out in their mind. It is just an external application of their mind, trying to divert their mind, and that's a good thing than feeling depressed, laying down, yelling, screaming, being sad. So let's continue. Then Appa says, when such a thing happens, the soul will keep circulating in the lower sphere and its onward journey is affected. So tell people around somebody who's dying not to cry. And as spiritual aspirants, what can we do for the people around us? Let us start preparing right now. Let us start making sure that they're taken care of. If possible, save some money so your loved ones are being taken care of. Get rid of your unwanted material so they don't have to go and go through all those things and sort them out. Try to make life better for those around us. Then let's continue. It was also during this discourse that Sage Agastya indicated another task that had to be taken up. So while he was talking about this, he also asked Gajraj Swamigal to do another thing, which is, he said, I want you to take this message and explain this particularly to those at the old age homes. This is one of the missions you have to undertake. And Sister Harisha Singh, who's here, has already started feeling that she wants to talk to the people in the home for the aged. Think about all those people. They're all around, each other, who are all old. Some of them are ailing. Most of them are not seeing their families regularly. So, what better time than to go spend time with them and explain to them about life and death? So, then Appa gives a beautiful explanation of how to do this, and we will address that too. Meanwhile, we did have Harisha Singh talk about when somebody, especially the great leaders like Ramana, spiritual leaders, Christ, suffered, what were they showing us? So, Sister Harisha, would you like to talk about it?
Thank you so much, Namaskaram. Um, so I will just quickly add regarding the crying when people are dying. And I think the last time I said that the reason that we need all these positive vibrations is more for the mind, which is attached to the ego, than it is for the soul, because the soul knows the onward journey. but it is the mind that has the attachment to family, to material things. So these chanting, the prayers, the positive conversations is to help the mind cross that ocean to, go forth knowing that, the journey of the soul is going to be much better than where they are. And yes, and regarding the suffering, like Ramana Maharishi also had cancer, and when people are sick and they are suffering, I think this is a very important time for us to be grounded in the divine instead of being distracted by the illness. And the illness is no different to our problems because whether it's cancer, whether it's anger, whether it's jealousy, whether it's poverty, whether it's betrayal, at the end of the day, it all equals the same thing. So, in whatever situation we are, in whatever illness we are in, we should always be rooted in the divine, divine words, divine chanting, meditation, instead of being distracted. And yes, that's what I was trying to explain the last time. So, thank you so much for allowing me to continue with that.
Welcome. And
Thank
there
you.
was one more thing you talked about, and you said when Ramana Maharishi or Christ suffered, what were they also showing us? They were showing us that they could endure, that we can
Yes,
go on.
yes, that the illness was not the issue, but they were rooted in the divine, and they were not being distracted by the disease. Instead, they were just concentrating on the divine. They knew that they are not the body. They knew that they are the soul, and that the soul is not affected. It is only the body which is affected. So yes, that's what I think I said last time. And also, I think, if I may add, death is something that is certain. When you are born, the one thing for sure, you may not know what you're going to cook for lunch tomorrow or dinner later, but you know for sure that you're going to die. So sometimes people, or we don't even get the opportunity to, sit around people who are about to die because the death is sudden. People just leave home, walk on the road, have a heart attack, hit by a bus, and they are dead. So I think it is so important, not only at the time of death, but daily, just to share good words with each other, just to say the goodbye, just to say the I love you, just to say the thank you, just to say the please forgive me, because we don't know when each person's turn has come. We just take for granted that, okay, we will go into old age and, we will die when we are 80 or 60 or whatever, and then we will decide to forgive, forget, and love and whatever. So I think that this is such a beautiful conversation, and I think people are afraid of talking about death and dying. But once you understand that, yes, it is certain, and yes, these are the things we need to do, not only at the moment of death, but daily, because life is so short. So, yes, and if I may add, I had a beautiful experience myself. My youngest brother was 32. This was about 14 years ago, and I was not so much on my spiritual journey. He slipped down 8 stairs, went into a coma, and by the time I reached South Africa, 8 surgeons had already done his brain op, and that was literally the end for him. But they kept him on a life support, and the head surgeon talked to me, told me, like, you know what, basically, this is it. We'll keep him on the life support for as long as you want. And yes, of course, my entire family was distraught. And I had a conversation with my cousin and my brother, and I said to them, like, you know what, we can't keep him here. He's literally a cabbage. There's nothing that he can do. But please, I would like, like there was my cousin, my brother, and myself. Let us have this conversation with my brother while he's in the coma. And we had this beautiful conversation with him, and we told him, like, what a good brother he was. And thank you for all the good things that he's done for us and for being our support and our strength. So basically, we just walked him through and we bid him farewell. And we told him that it was his time to go. It was okay to go. He's done all that he needed to for us. And when we left the hospital that night, I had a feeling that was going to be his last. And early hours of the morning, they called to say that he passed on. So it's so true that even in a coma, you can hear, you can understand, and you can know everything. So, yes, and we shouldn't let any moment go by without being positive and loving and caring with each other. So, thank you so much, Amar. Thank you for allowing me.
Thank you for sharing that. And that is important. Actually, my husband does the same thing. Every day when I go to work, he says, this could be the last time you're seeing me. Give me a hug. So it is important that we try to be as loving as possible with each of the people who are around us so that, you know, whether we are living or we are dying, we are only sending out positivity. And what you did in terms of talking to your brother when he was in coma, that's a beautiful experience. That's a beautiful experience for him and for you. So when you give them permission to say, "Hey, it's okay. It's time for you to go," you are allowing the soul to move on without any magnets of attachment clinging on to it. So let go is very important. Letting go now. So my daughter sometimes says, "Hey, mom, you're not as attached to me as usually moms are." I say, I am happy whether you're in someone else's home or there was a beautiful American person. Her name was Sandra, and my daughter met her yesterday. She is like a second mother to my daughter because when we were going through homelessness in America, my daughter lived with Sandra for 2 years, and Sandra was like a beautiful mother to her. So I said, when Sandra was there, I didn't have a problem because I knew you had a mother. So that is the kind of detachment we can have. We can be happy for a children. If they're happy, it doesn't have to be that they have to be with us. So let us learn to have that kind of loving detachment. It's not that I love my daughter any less. I love her greatly, but I was happy she was taken care of because the situation I was at wasn't good. So I wouldn't have been able to give her a good life at that time. So that is what we learn as we go forward in life. Now Brother Ramachandran was talking about life after death. So how one of the scientists was able to find out that there is life after death. So I would like Dr. Brother Ramachandran to talk about it a little.
Yes, I was interested actually what happens after death so many times, and this Harold Sherman. You can read that book also, Live After Death. So he was actually is not believer in God or anything, but he's a rationalist. So when his wife died, so he was very sad. He said that why I am sad, and he thought that I will find out what happens. Then he was trying to contact her with various ways, by um, taping also. So using the tape recorder and continuously sending the blank record, that tape will move, and at a particular stage, he will try to contact her. So he could not do that for a long time. Afterwards, he was told to continue with that, and he found out that in the 22 or something realm, he was able to get some frequency of his wife, and she was able to talk to him, and certain thing which he only knew. Then he knew that it is true. So that way he found out that book is very interesting. Then after that, I was also interested. This one Bhavanagari was there, Parthi. So two sons died while they were 25 to 30 years while going in this thing, accident in Bombay. Then while she was very unhappy, there was one medium who told that they are trying to contact you. Then she told okay. She contacted and they told that we are in some fifth or sixth realm and we will like to talk to you. And they first started with automatic writing. So she used to do the automatic writing. After some time, they said that now we will talk directly with telepathy. So with the telepathy, they were telling so many questions were asked by so many people. and she was able to give them some guidance through her children. And like that, she wrote about some few books on this life after death. She has written what they are saying. Then what happened? My brother-in-law died. That is my brother. He died about 43 years age. Then I thought that these were very, very unhappy. I went brothers, their brothers and all. So I directly went to her, told that I will like to contact. So she got the contact, and he told, that is my brother-in-law who died. He told that I'm very happy here, and he wanted that his daughter, only daughter, that you are very young, he should be looked after well. So that way, they were happy that he was able to be contacted at this stage. And in the future, we saw that his daughter is married and all that. Now she is very happy. He was coming regularly to my wife's dream. He used to come, and once we made that arrangement for marriage and everything, then he vanished. Then he left that. So that way, it proved that you are there is life after death, and you can see in the autobiography Yogi, I think Paramsi Yogananda, he was holding he was very attached to one stag, and that stag was actually, it was about to die, and he was not leaving that. Then I think in his dream it came, and he told that, please leave me. Then he left it, then it went away that way.
Yeah.
That way, one has to detach it, even though very much attached to a certain stage. So that was that. So that way, I contacted many people like that. There was one case was there that one person, one girl died of suicide. Then I contacted through some editor who had contact with a lot of this after soul, this thing, higher soul. And it was found that she was committed suicide, not fell down from the train. And they are looked after by higher souls, so it is all there in different frequencies, all these souls. And at the right time, if they see the light, and if they go and follow the light, and they can reach the correct source, and even that near-death experience you can see. So they go through the tunnel, and at the end of the tunnel there is light, and they told that your time has not come, so you go back. So they come back, and they are not afraid of death at all. Then they come back and they go for the
Right. Yeah. So thank you, Brother Ramachandran. That is so important. We do know that the consciousness, the soul does not die after death. Unless they are leaving the realm of the creation, every soul is still intact, which means, as we Hindus believe, and we know, we do come back and continue our lives until we understand our own divinity. And what he was saying about Paramahamsa Yogananda is a very important topic, which is, the deer, well, he was so attached to the deer couldn't leave. So detachment is important for spiritual aspirants, especially when somebody is dying. Let them go. Be prepared to let them go. To love is not to hold on, to love is to be able to let go. That's the first thing you have to learn as spiritual aspirants. Now, as far as after that experiences, or people coming back from near-death experiences, all that is true. Yes, some may be made up by the mind, but there is consciousness exists after that, because I myself have gone through past life regression, where I have been led through the tunnel, the light, and I have been to higher realms during the past life regression where I was seeing this energy or ball of energy just moving in straight lines quickly. And that's when I realized that is how the Shriyanta actually looks, the creation actually looks, if we take away all the illusion of Maya in terms of the substance and things that we see or perceive through our visual through our eyes. So it is nothing but energy in running in straight lines, and that is what I saw during my past life regression. But I was brought back by the person who was doing it, saying you've gone to at a higher level, so you have to come back. And then when I went back, I saw myself as a little girl in a village in Rajasthan, and in a small wooden cradle, and then I could see my mother of the time in a red veil next to me in a small hut, not nothing great. And then the person led me to the last part of the regression where he said, what was recall the most traumatic memory that you have, and the memory for me was sitting in front of my husband's funeral pyre and crying. So when he brought me back to the present life, I sat up and I was holding my dupatta in my face and crying, weeping. My husband is dead, even though I knew this is Anu and that's not the same person. So that trauma lasted for 3 days, where I knew I was Anu, but I was also the person that had gone through the trauma in the past life. And that is where my fear of separation from my husband had come, and I was able to let go of that fear. And that is what happens in life is death helps us, like a dream, like we dream of something, and it's gone, and when we wake up we don't remember. Just like that, when a person dies and comes back in rebirth, they do not thankfully recall everything that has happened. That is why we stand in judgment so very, what do we call it? With so much righteous anger. Oh, that person is so bad. He's done something without knowing what we have done in our past lives, just because we have forgotten it. So that's another thing we learn from all this. So we are almost ending the session. So we will talk about, what Appa's talked about in terms of how to deal with people in old age homes later, because next sessions we're going to talk about suicide. What happens when a person commits suicide? What happens when a person dies because of accident, or when a person is murdered? What happens to the soul? We'll talk about those important topics. Okay, so for now we'll stop this session and continue next session.